What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our college football channel. It's time for my updated New Year's 6 bowl projections as we head into week 14 of the 2020 college football season. And haven't made a lot of big changes this week, but a few tweaks. A lot of people worried about the playoff and who's going to make it in there, but the New Year's 6 bowls are very important as well. It kind of separates the top bowl games from the rest of the bowl games, and it can be big for some of these programs to make it into a New Year's 6 bowl. So this is a big deal, and we're going to continue to do this every week and see where I'm projecting these teams to go. If you missed the playoff prediction video, I did that actually yesterday, and I go more in depth on the playoff picture in that video. This video I will show those because they are part of the New Year's 6, but we're mostly talking about those other New Year's 6 bowls. The Peach Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, and the Orange Bowl. So let's get into the playoff matchups first to show you those again. I have Alabama at 1, Notre Dame number 4. Could definitely see Notre Dame ahead of Ohio State at number 3. We talked about that again yesterday in the playoff prediction video. So it could be Alabama, Ohio State in this matchup, which I think I would prefer. I would like to see that matchup and then see if Clemson does in fact beat Notre Dame. I'd like to see them play a third time, break the tiebreaker. So that's how I would like to see it, but I think the committee probably would put Ohio State, if they get to play the rest of their games, probably going to put the Buckeyes at number 3. So then we would get Clemson versus Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. So those would be the two playoff matchups. We get to the rest of the New Year's 6 bowls, and there are no rules. I mean, there are a few rules. You've got to have a team from every Power 5 conference, but if a team is in the playoff, you don't have, a conference has a team in the playoff, you don't have to have another team out of that conference. So example, Ohio State, Big Ten, they're in the playoff. That means you don't have to have another Big Ten team. Also, you have to have a group of 5 champion, not a non-Power 5 team, but a group of 5 conference champion. That means BYU does not qualify for that spot. And then this year you have the Orange Bowl, which would be an ACC team versus either an SEC or a Big Ten team, and then again you've got to have a group of 5 champion. Other than that, they can put the teams wherever they want them. I believe I saw something that said that they're going to try to match things up more geographically this year, I guess because of the virus and everything, and that's something I wasn't really taking into account in my previous projections. I know they try to do that, but at the same time they do a lot of things. They don't want to try to put teams in rematches from recent bowl games. They don't want to put teams in the same bowl that they were just in last year or whatever. So there are some things that they try to do, but there are no real rules except for the ones I just gave you. So let's start with the Orange Bowl, the one that has this is really the only bowl game this year that has or New Year's 6 bowl game that has an actual tie-in. ACC Miami, SEC Florida here could be a Big Ten team, but I don't think a Big Ten team is going to be ranked high enough. So I think we see Miami versus Florida here. This is actually the same matchup we had last week. You look at the ACC, they're going to have to get a team in here. If Notre Dame were to beat Clemson, that could drop Clemson into the Orange Bowl. Miami then could be on the outside looking in, or maybe they go to another bowl game. But it feels like, Miami is definitely going to be the highest ranked ACC team. Now, what happens if North Carolina beats Miami? Could North Carolina go ahead of the Hurricanes, and then we see North Carolina, a 3-loss team, in the Orange Bowl? I guess that's possible. That'll be a big game coming up. Then we have Florida over here. The Gators, I think, will be the highest ranked. Well, not necessarily the highest ranked SEC team, because they probably will stay behind Texas A&M if they lose to Alabama. But I think the committee I don't believe this has to be the highest ranked SEC team. I think they just have to take an SEC or a Big Ten team, and I think they're going to take Florida. Geographically, this makes sense. You got 2 teams from the same state. It's going to be, I think, a great matchup. I would love to see it. Miami versus Florida. Remember, they played in the regular season last year. It was a good game. I think it'll be a pretty good game this year. Florida, to me, is the better team, but you never know in these bowl games. So that's my pick for the Orange Bowl. Same as last week. We go to the Peach Bowl. So I've made a change here. Last week, it was Georgia versus Northwestern. I now have Northwestern on the outside looking in. I don't think that they're going to be ranked high enough to make it into a New Year's 6 bowl. When you look at the fact that they have a good opportunity to lose another game, whether it's Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game or Indiana in the Big Ten championship game, or maybe they lose another game somewhere else. I think Northwestern, especially being behind BYU, with no real opportunity, unless they were again to upset Ohio State in the Big Ten Championship. No real opportunity for them. So I think they slide out, and I'm going to move Cincinnati into the Peach Bowl to play Georgia. Obviously, geographically, it makes sense for Georgia, not far at all. And then Cincinnati, I think, winds up here just because I really didn't find a good fit for them anywhere else. This would be a great matchup. Two teams that are on the opposite ends of the spectrum here. Everybody's talking about Georgia and how they're overrated. They should be ranked lower. Everybody's talking about Cincinnati, how they're underrated. Maybe they should be ranked higher. They should have a chance at the playoff. So that would be an interesting one coming in. You think about that and you think about motivation. Cincinnati might be the motivated team to be able to knock off a team like Georgia. So that would be a good matchup. And I think we would see that one in the Peach Bowl. Another change for me is the Fiesta Bowl. So last week, for the first time, we dropped BYU out of the New Year's Six. But then Northwestern lost, and that changed things. So now BYU is back in the New Year's Six. I have them going to the Fiesta Bowl to play USC. The Pac-12 is up in the air right now. Maybe it's Washington. Maybe Oregon bounces back. I don't know. USC looked pretty good in their last game. It's a team that I know has the potential to win the Pac-12. They've got an explosive offense. If they get things going in the right direction, I think they can win the Pac-12. And so I'm going to go with USC here, but insert Oregon or Washington, whoever, out of the Pac-12. Whichever team wins that conference will be, I think, in the Fiesta Bowl. They'll play BYU. So I think there's really a great opportunity now for BYU to get back into the New Year's Six. Again, last week I didn't have them in the New Year's Six because they were ranked so low, and that hasn't really changed. You know, they only went up one spot. But you look at the teams ahead of them. All right, so the teams that they would have to pass in the rankings. Iowa State, I have losing to Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship game. Indiana, I think, will lose somewhere, maybe Wisconsin this weekend. And that's a team to watch. Wisconsin could potentially pass BYU. We could see Wisconsin in this bowl game, depending on where they land in the rankings, because they're not too far behind BYU right now. Right now, BYU's at 13, Wisconsin's at 16. So we could potentially see Wisconsin, if they get a big win, moving up into this spot. But I don't think it's going to happen. So Indiana, Iowa State, they get knocked out of the way. Northwestern now behind BYU. I think that opens up the door, and the Cougars get into a New Year's Six bowl, which I think you got to be happy about when you see that initial ranking of 14. Also, there's a possibility that BYU could schedule another game against a quality opponent. They win that. That'll boost the resume, and I think for sure put them into a New Year's Six bowl, maybe even into the top 10. So that's the Fiesta Bowl, and then the Cotton Bowl. We made no change here. Last week I had this matchup, Oklahoma versus Texas A&M. I know Iowa State's ranked the highest in the Big 12 right now, but I still like Oklahoma and the momentum they're playing with. They didn't get to play last week. We'll see if that hurts them this week. But this team is just playing like one of the best teams in the country. And then Texas A&M, they could lose to Auburn this weekend. That's going to be their final, big test. If they lose that game, that could maybe open the door up, but I don't think it does. I think A&M maybe falls at 8 or 9, maybe 10. But they're still ranked high enough, probably still ahead of BYU. So I think the Aggies are pretty much a lock unless they get embarrassed by Auburn or something, which I doubt is going to happen. They should win that game. They're going to be favored. So yeah, I think we see Texas A&M. They're pretty much a lock for at least a New Year's Six bowl. I know the Aggies are hoping to make the college football playoff. They need some help there. Need maybe Ohio State to get upset, or maybe the Buckeyes can't finish the season, something like that. But if they don't make it into the playoff, I think A&M is a lock to make it into a New Year's Six bowl, and I think we would get a great matchup here. Old Big 12 matchup, Oklahoma versus Texas A&M. This would be the final pick for me. So those are my New Year's bowl projections, New Year's Six bowl projections. I would love to know how you have it playing out. Who do you have in the New Year's Six? Who do you have playing who? It could be fun for the committee this year because they can pretty much match the teams up however, and we'll see how it comes out. But that's, again, my prediction. Let me know yours. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports College Football Channel.